Welcome back into Indiebnb. This is the 100th episode, 100. So for today's episode, instead of us getting a guest on, Tash and I are just going to shoot from the hip, man, and just talk about some of our favorite moments from the podcast. So TVD, I want you to start us off. Favorite moments, in your opinion, from the podcast.
Oh man. I mean, from the very beginning, just talking straight up aliens with Death Valley Girls. Uh, but this is probably gonna be yours, but I mean, number one's gotta be medium build, just freezing up in the parking lot, talking to us. It's just felt like it fit our podcast at the time of sort of halfway professional. But yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of great ones. How about you, my man?
Yeah, I think I've enjoyed I guess like I can't pick out one individually, but I think as a collective, just anytime I walk in to do this, I always am amazed and astounded at, what we learn from the artist, different things that, we would have never thought about. I think one of my favorite ones I would say has been, all not only the artist, but also the people who are putting on shows too. So Juliet and Kyle, shout out to them. Like two bookers local here in Atlanta that let us, kind of dive in and get a little inside baseball on it. Like I think that those have been my favorite. And then, you know, I can't pick a favorite artist. I mean, obviously Medium Build's meteoric rise after, as he's gone through his career here has been amazing. And, we had nothing to do with it. We just got lucky and got him on and he froze in the parking lot. But um man, I think like there's been so many good ones. I mean, if you look at the earlier days, like you get the Hedonistas, you get Pip the Pansy, Crab Claw. We get somebody like Susto on, and like that's ones that we would have never dreamed if you told us that back in 2021. So I think all of that is really probably my favorite part collectively of this.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see just like how much good music is out there. I mean, we've interviewed 99 artists and give or take, but there's just so much good music out there, and we're always getting recommendations from all these artists, and it's like it seems almost impossible to like how does someone even get to the point of like, oh, now this person is selling out arenas or this band is selling out. It's like, how do you sift through the cracks to find who all these bands are? Because I mean, just locally in Atlanta, locally in Charleston, where we've interviewed not most, but where we've had sort of bigger pods of groups. I mean, there's just amazing music that 99.9% of the country has never even heard of. And if you went to one of their shows, you'd be like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I look at like a band like, I know they're our buddy and we're pretty big homers for them, but Perfect Animal, like that's a band that, if you don't know it and you're not from here and you don't know, from just going to a show in Atlanta, like you may not you miss out on that stuff. And then, I kind of get a little bit of anxiety because I think about like, man, what about all the towns that we haven't even like had a couple pods in, even in Atlanta and Charleston, like there's so many more that like we haven't even talked to. And again, like I think for us doing this, like we just appreciate, the small grind. Those artists are not like, they're not doing a, headlining tour. We get some that do that and it's amazing. And I love talking to those guys because they have a different perspective. But getting those people who are, kind of on the up and come up and then, they blow up and then you're like, man, I'm just proud that I got to, catch a second, with them. I think you got people and man, like Barbara Volk, for example, like that's one that's like a way throwback and like High Crime and like those folks that like, really those people out in Seattle and like kind of on the West Coast, Daphna, like she just put out a great single, like Caroline Kingsbury. Like those are people that, man, if you don't know, you don't know, and that sucks. And I wish that there was a way. Obviously, like the internet's connected all of us with a lot of different ways to find music. I think it is overwhelming though, to the point of like, man, like there's so much good music out there, and so many talented people that if you don't have the right algorithm or, you might miss something. So I think, the thing I can encourage our audience to do is just go out and take the chance on the show that, maybe you wouldn't have gone and seen before. Like you take a chance on a band that you're like, they're playing in my local venue. I've never been there. I haven't been there and they've never disappointed me. I think trusting those people to curate some of your experiences on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, even during the week, like I think that's really where you need to kind of where the rubber meets the road to discover more music.
Yeah, and it's been really cool for us, like meeting these people like when they come to town. And another thing I've really not necessarily enjoyed, but uh something that's like stuck out of me is just like you kind of get sort of like this idea of like who these people are in this band, but then you meet them, whether it's we met them at a show or we just meet them on here, and they're just most of the time they're just regular people, they make music for a living. And I for some reason I would just like had this idea of like, oh, they're like this, like savant, like they, crazy music nerd kind of thing. And I'm sure a lot of them, are like just, they're obviously all very talented, but it's sort of that we're like humanizing them through talking to them. They're not just, listening to them on Spotify or whatever it might be. So that's been a pretty cool thing for me, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely building the relationships. I mean, like getting to meet, Runner, like going to his show, I think it was a Wednesday night in the Masquerade, and I've missed him a couple times since he's been back, but like, you know, that guy, he makes music alone and, his show and his, the way he carried himself in the interview and everything and the music he makes, like the show is completely different. And, the live experience for him, for that show is amazing. I can't, recommend it enough. Like, I think it's difficult because, like, I mean, guys like Brother Moses, you remember them like that, like
Uh,
those guys, yeah, like I think, they make a great record. They're from New York, and like I can't wait to hopefully get them here in Atlanta at some point. Like, there's so many that are just like, I mean, we're gonna miss so many people, um, but like, gosh, like there's so much fun to just meet in person and have a beer with some of them. Like that's been a real joy just to again get a community going. And I kind of liken that to what we've created. Like it's say once they get on here, like I'm cheering for them. And I'm gonna shout them out when I can, and do the things we can do on the socials and listen to their music. I follow all of them on Spotify. Like I think like I try to do the things where I can keep up with them as much as I can because they're making great stuff. I think
yeah, it's crazy how much like how many of the bands like I still listen to. Like I literally was listening to Bo earlier. Like they just like popped up on one of my like old playlists, and I was like, man, they had some bops. I mean, Dance With Me, what a jam.
dude, they released I literally had them on
And they
Walk
had
of
a
the Stars the
single
other
come out
day.
like today, I think.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, and then I guess another one of my great memories was, you know, interviewing Caroline Kingsbury, and then like literally 2 days later being in San Diego and she was playing, and got the whole gang to go to her show, which was just like, what are the chances of this happening? But and it's been a fun run so far.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think obviously us being able to MC the two shows that we've done, like that was a great experience. And shout out to the people who participated in our weird games. Like we're still it's us, man. Like that's really that. Like if you go to an MC show, you get the unadulterated Tash and Grant. And I think like continuing to be authentic. As we look forward, I think that'll still be true. I mean, we got tons of bands that are in the hopper coming up here, and we got individual artists, we got bands, we got some bands from other countries, some foreign bands coming into this, like all walks of life, so all are welcome. And I love we just dig music. I think that we've never strayed away from that. Um, so I mean, well, I guess Tash, like for you, what are somebody who are a couple bands that wish list for us to get on, the next, 4 or 5 episodes here. Like not like, again, like they're not coming on, necessarily now, but like wish list for us to get on this podcast at some
And
point.
put me on the spot. Now I know how the artists feel.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I really just don't even know. I mean, it's just been exciting kind of having, where we've kind of grown this and then these bands are kind of starting to like reach out to us and we kind of discover them. It's sort of, reverse engineered as opposed to where at the beginning we were like, all right, here's a list. Let's try to
Ranking.
see if we can get these people on.
Yeah.
Be honest with you, I really haven't been listening to a ton of music lately, which is uh my fault. But you know, I'd like to get who is the two bands that opened for Perfect Animal. I mean,
Equal Creatures. We had Frigga Five on, but Equal
yeah,
Creatures,
Equal
we need to get
Creatures, yeah.
them, we need to get them on for sure.
I would love to have them.
Yeah. They were great. I think, yeah, where you see that, like I look at, bands anywhere between the, 10,000 follower, 3,000 follower to, 30,000 follower range, 99, whatever it takes. Like, it doesn't matter on the, Spotify or on, Instagram. I think, people who are, in that level, and like Pale Hound is one that, we have a relationship with her publicist. And so I think, or their publicist, I think we'll end up, trying to reach out about them. Like, and shout out to Sarah Averin, from Charm School Media. Like, I think we get a lot of, we've done a lot of work with her. Um, and she's been great. She's sent us a ton of her folks, and I just appreciate her trust in, our process, and obviously us, being able to put out the product that is good for her band and good for the people that she works with. So if there are any other, people who are in the in that industry, in the PR world, if you want to get your band on, DM us, or send us an email. We'd have happy to get on your list and start working with you. I think we've got a lot of, there's so much more for us to get out and do. And I hope we can get some more, some different vibes on, on the podcast. Like maybe we do, some more concert stuff. Maybe we do a little bit more live. Maybe we do some more stuff in the studio where we do some in-person interviews. That's, I think, things that are I'm always on my mind, but haven't executed on quite yet. But I think that's hopefully the future is bright for us. I think we're gonna keep going to shows, that's for sure. And you guys can watch on the IG where when we go to shows.
Man, 100 of these.
Hundreds not easy, I can tell you that. But it's been a joy. And Tash, of course, you're, as you have been involved, man. It's I appreciate your effort in the, definitely in the beginning, and the enthusiasm. I don't know if a lot of people know the story of where this was born out of, but Tash had surgery on his head. He was a little bit laid up for a few weeks, and so we decided to start, create an Instagram page and start doing this, and just sending out local band pics, and pics for music for a daily basis, daily life. And then it morphed into this, morphed into the podcast, morphed into the idea that we could have host bands at a house at some point, which we now think is a little bit
Creepy.
wild, because people don't want to hang out with people they meet on the internet. That's an insane thought. So but uh anyway, I think where we landed, I'm very, very proud of, and where we've where we're going. I think it's going to be good. I mean, what's one thing for the future you'd like to, see from us?
And just as we always say, just keep living, just keep potting. Life's a garden, dig it. What we can do, quit? You got to
No,
make it
man.
work for it.
Yeah. I mean, I think keeping consistency, man. I think we staying consistent and going into this and just keep talking with the bands, keep working with the bands, get you get those people on that, maybe we don't get on normally and hopefully people are starting to listen. We have a theory that no one is. So, if you are listening, we appreciate you.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I guess the my goal would be that we would reach a point where people coming on to our podcast would help them gain followers, attraction, not necessarily just like Instagram followers, but just like people who listen to their music. That would be like my ultimate goal. It's just to help the artists in whatever way we can.
yeah. Help get out some of the greatness that, we've gotten to experience through, getting involved with them and then making them making people more aware. I think is where we're going. Like that's a great goal. I second that. Stamp it. Put it in the articles of incorporation.
I don't have any of those, but we'll be all right.
Love it. I love it, man. Well, I think that's it for the the 100th episode. I mean, when we don't have somebody to interview, we're just kind of two jabronis talking shop on here. So I guess
Cake or
Tash,
pie?
what?
Cake or pie?
Dude, I'm a pie boy all day of the week.
Same.
No question. I want to ask one last question of you, Tash. Of the last concerts you've been to recently, which one would you recommend 10 out of 10 to our listeners? What's your favorite concert memory of the last 3 or 4 years, other than Caroline, obviously?
Mm. And Pack AD was like, you talk about just like loud, hits you in your face. And for them to just be a two piece, they don't really get out this way a lot, but if you're ever somewhere where they're playing, I would 10 out of 10 recommend to go see them.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah,
I mean, I'd say most wild concert memory from just kind of this. Like, obviously, I've seen like a lot of our bands in action. I mean, the Moss. I had the pleasure of seeing them. They were second band in a in a lineup on a Friday night at the Masquerade, and our boy is running around the stage in the final song. He had that mic cord wrapped around that thing, and it pulled tight, and that mic stand went down right on somebody's face, and that person was bleeding out like they got hit by Mike Tyson. Um, so I think that was the wildest thing for sure. I will never forget that, nor will I never stop telling that story. And of course, they stopped playing. They took care of her. I think everything ended up being okay, but very insane circumstance that just crazy. And that's kind of the beauty of a live show. You never know what's going to happen. Never know what's happening next. So I'd encourage everybody, as we close here, encourage everybody to go out to your local venues, go out to your local places. You know, don't just stay in. Go drink a beer with your friends at a show. I think it's important to continue the culture and continue just embracing folks that are putting themselves out there and making music and making art for everybody, for themselves, and but for other people's enjoyment too. So that's my final thought there. We appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. Hopefully we've entertained you guys a little bit. Maybe got some car rides. Car rides have been a little shorter because of us. So looking forward to 100 more. We'll do it again at 200 where we just kind of chop it up here. But we have Austin Miller coming out next. And he's got some great music coming out too. So look forward to 100 more of these guys. Appreciate you, Tash.
keep digging music.
Love it.